Hello and welcome back to another Classic WoW video. Today we are doing things different and we are talking about my perspective of what Blizzard can do with the future of Classic. Now obviously Blizzard can go several directions, like they can just slap the TBC expansion on us, they can give us completely new TBC servers where we start from level 1, or they can give us the option to transfer or copy our characters over to TBC servers, allowing us to also keep the Classic version of our characters. I might go more in depth on those options in a different video if there's an interest in that, but I believe the TBC thing is kinda self-explanatory. In this video, however, we are talking about Classic Plus, which is an alternate version of a Classic expansion where Blizzard can make changes and expand on Classic's story. Like, we can get TBC with minor or major modifications, Outlands without flying, or we can get entirely new content. That's all up to Blizzard. In this video I will try to showcase both the negatives and the positives of Classic Plus so you can form an opinion on whether or not you want this to happen. Personally, I do not believe Classic Plus will ever happen, but hey, if we go back 3 years in time, I didn't believe Classic would happen either, and look where we are now. Now before we get any further into this video, I'm just going to let you know about my World of Warcraft Discord channel, which is linked in the description. If you have any questions you want to ask me, that will probably be the best place to ask. Additionally, if you're a gold maker and you're looking for a community filled with other like-minded people, it's a great place to be. So again, click the link in the description to join. Also feel free to check out my affiliate links at the bottom of the description and see if it's something for you. Exit lag is a sort of VPN or a ping enhancer that I personally have used for games such as Arcade, and what it does is it simply enhances your ping and it gets you a better connection to the game server. And by using my referral link you get 20% off if you decide to purchase after your free trial. Yes, they do offer you a free trial if you click my referral link. Okay, with that being said, Classic Plus, the good and the bad. I will split this into both the player's perspective and Blizzard's perspectives, because there's some things that will be good for the player and bad for Blizzard, and vice versa. First off, let's look at it from the player's perspective, and first we'll look at the positives. You get entirely new content or enhanced old content where the bugs are fixed and where the small bits and pieces that were bad can either be reworked or removed. You get additional content which is based on the content you already love, and without any of the new modern systems like artifact power and missions and world quests and all that stuff. You get more content for the same price, since Classic is included in the subscription, and this would allow you to switch to Classic when you're bored of BFA, and vice versa. You can do this right now as well, but if they do come out with Classic Plus, you will have new content to explore when you're bored of the current Shadowlands patch or whatever expansion comes out after Shadowlands. It gives us the opportunity to experience something like Classic, but with more challenges, because let's face it, Vanilla came out 15 years ago, and now, because of private servers, everybody knows how to do every single boss fight in their sleep, and there's no real challenges in Classic, except for the time-gated grinds, like gold grinding, leveling, gear grinding, honor grinding, and etc. If Blizzard decides to make Classic Plus, they can give us a Classic-like experience, but adjust raid content to be a bit more challenging, which I think is a good thing. We also get more options. We get to choose between Classic, Classic Plus, and Retail. I'll discuss this more in a bit. And then we have the negatives. First off, it might end up splitting the Classic community, but let's face it, the community has already been kinda split. Based on numbers alone, there's less than half the people playing Classic now as it was back at launch, which kinda indicates to me that Classic Plus could be a bigger success than just adding a TBC expansion to Classic, at least long term. You're also messing with history/nostalgia. Some people will get mad if Blizzard decides to start messing with Classic or TBC, so if they do decide to go with Classic Plus, they would most likely have to develop a whole new expansion based on Classic's lore. They do have several ways they can go here, like we already have Mount Hyjal in the game, and we could have a Classic expansion based on that, or a Naga themed expansion, or a Murloc themed expansion, or maybe even the Emerald Dream. What if we go to Mount Hyjal and we kill some huge dragon up there, and after killing him, Mount Hyjal turns all green and dreamy. So for example, in patch X.1, Mount Hyjal is all fiery and dark, and the end boss of that raid is a big bad dragon, and in patch X.2, Mount Hyjal field is all green and full of life because we have defeated the dragon and life has started to grow again. That's just a bad example from a non-game developer point of view though, but yeah, so there it is, the positives and negatives seen from the player's point of view. Now let's look at it from Blizzard's perspective. First off, let's look at the positive things. First off, you have endless monetization possibilities. Let's face it, Blizzard loves money, and Classic Plus would absolutely boost their subscription number. Additionally, they could also add the in-game cash shop to it, but if they do want to keep it as classic as possible, they should probably try to avoid adding the cash shop, or at least add as few items/mounts in there as possible, but they do have the option. They could also bring back TCG, or make a new set of TCG, or in real-life collectibles, which could award a code which you could redeem in game and get a random box, and that box could include a mount, a pet, and so on. They would get more subscribers, more players, a larger community, better reputation, and higher customer satisfaction. I truly believe in giving people a choice, and for some people retail isn't a perfect game, but classic is, and vice versa. And then you have people like me who don't love retail, and also does not love classic due to the lack of challenges and the lack of depth in the game itself. I do, however, love how sandboxy it feels, and it's like Blizzard is giving us a template, but we make the game, so to speak. Raiding and dungeons in classic would have been nothing if the community didn't keep it challenging by trying to do speedruns or clearing it with as few people as possible. It just shows that people love challenges. I truly believe that more options is just better, but there should also be a cap. Like if you get presented with a million opportunities, you won't know which one to pick and you will just go home. But in this case we would have Classic, Classic Plus, and Retail, 3 different versions of the same game, the old, the new, and the middle ground. Then we have the negative things. There would be more work for little reward, but this depends on how much Classic Plus would influence their subscription numbers and how many items they decide to add to the in-game cash shop in Classic Plus, if they even decide to add the cash shop. It might be more difficult to make a whole new code in a game that is supposed to feel classic-like than just pulling up the old code for Classic or TBC, so again, more work for Blizzard. Having to make a new storyline or rework an old one while not messing with the original story of Azeroth, or messing with whatever they've already stated about the history. I'm sure there are a lot more positives and negatives, both for the players and for Blizzard, so if you can think of anything, please leave a comment down below. In essence, Classic Plus is just the idea of taking Classic and building upon it based on the gameplay of Classic and player feedback. Classic in itself is a product based on player feedback, since it's pretty obvious that even Blizzard didn't think Classic would be a success, and didn't want to commit their time to bringing it back, until the community spoke up and showed that Classic is something we absolutely want. So if Classic is a product based on player feedback, Classic Plus should be as well. This would be a great time for Blizzard to listen to their community on forums, Reddit, Twitch and YouTube, and maybe even make a blue post or blue posts in their forums themselves, and asking for feedback and really looking at and evaluating every single comment, especially the top ones. If they do it right, which is a big if, Classic Plus could turn out great and surpass everyone's expectations, and it could elevate their subscription numbers as well as general customer satisfaction, which is always a great thing. So there it is, a quick Classic Plus video, which is way overdue. Classic Plus is something I heard streamers talk about months back around the launch of Classic and a couple of weeks into Classic, and this is my take on Classic Plus seen from my point of view. If there's anything you disagree with or anything you want to add or something, please leave a comment down below, as I'm really interested in hearing your opinions on Classic Plus, and which direction Blizzard should take when it comes to continuing Classic and what should happen next. If you enjoy these types of videos where I talk about things that I would like to see Blizzard add to the game, or which direction I want them to take next, make sure you give that like button a high five. These types of videos is something I really like making, since I can just express my opinion and creativity, I guess, and maybe, just maybe, if I have a good idea or two, if Blizzard picks up on them, it may have an impact on the game. So that's it for this video. I do hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, give that like button a high five, and slap that subscribe button and ring the bell. Alright, I'll see you in the next video.